Okay, good evening, everyone. This is the City of Hannibal official council agenda, Tuesday, April 4th, 2023, council chambers, 7 p.m. I would ask the clerk to please call the roll.
Councilmember Franke?
Present.
Mayor Hart?
Here.
Councilmember Phillips?
Here.
Councilmember Welch?
Here.
Councilmember Beach?
Here.
Councilmember McCoy?
Here.
Mayor Pro Tem Dobson?
Here. There being a quorum, I would call this meeting to order. Councilman Dobson, would you lead us in the invocation, please?
Sure. Glorious God, you promised to open the doors of blessing and abundance for your people. We ask that you would work mightily in us today, come upon us and cause us to have a productive meeting. Lead each one of us so that we can make fruitful contributions at this time. Enable us to think and strategize in ways that will achieve great results. Purify our thoughts and our motives so that each one of us will enter this meeting desiring the good of others and the pleasure of your name. Amen.
Lieutenant Brody, would you lead us in the pledge?
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Council, at this time, I'd ask for a motion to approve the agenda as it is posted.
So moved.
Second.
Mayor, I'm going to ask you to amend the agenda so you can add bill number 23-002.
There's a motion and a second, and in the discussion, apparently, there is a request to amend the agenda. Appears that bill number 23-002, there was a scrivener's error on a date. Yes, in January, people have a hard time remembering to switch over the new year, so in one part of the date it said 2022, the date right after it said 2023. It should have read correctly 2023, so I would ask that this item be placed on the agenda. If there's a motion to approve that.
Amend my motion to include the revised date and accept the agenda.
And is there a second?
Second.
Okay. Motion is second. Any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? The motion carried. Council, at this time, I'd ask for a motion to approve the minutes of the regularly scheduled council meeting of March 21st, 2023.
So moved. Second.
Motion is second. Any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? That motion's carried. Now need a motion to approve the payroll and claims for the second half of March 2023.
So moved. Second.
Motion is second. Any discussion over payroll and claims? Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? That motion's carried. Next item on the agenda from the Hannibal Early Bird Kiwanis, Stephanie Cooper. And it appears there's going to be a pork chop dinner, so I'm interested in hearing about food.
Good evening, Mr. Mayor and council members. I am here on behalf of the Early Bird Kiwanis. Every year we plan an annual pork chop dinner. This year we have scheduled the Wyman's Pavilion for Friday, May 12th and Friday, September 8th. This fundraiser certainly supports organizations that are working with youth in our community as well as independent projects that Early Bird Kiwanis does. And so we are requesting that we have a no parking street closure in the 100 block of Hill Street and a street closed sign or barrier at Hill in Maine for those 2 dates. The times would be 8 a.m. to 7 p.m. We do not run until 7 p.m., but it does take us a little bit of time to get equipment out of there that afternoon. So we're typically finished by around 4.
And council, there doesn't appear to be any issues regarding this request. Goodness knows it happens continuously. We do need receipt of the certificate of insurance.
Yes.
You can't get that quite this early. I think you can only get it maybe 60 days now, but
Yes. Yes, we requested it from National Kiwanis, and they have sent it.
Okay.
So I'll be sending it in tomorrow morning.
very good.
To approve pending insurance. Second.
There's a motion and a second. Any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion's carried. Thank you very much. Next on the agenda is Anthony Virel.
Good evening. I'm just here on behalf of the Rialto Banquet Hall to request permission for approval of a caterer's license to serve alcohol in the orchard on April 22nd.
That's
This is usually a formality, but
formality. We've never had an issue arise.
right, yeah. So I'll make the motion.
I'll second. Is there any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
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 Opposed? Motion's carried. Thank you, sir. Next is Mr. John Ling. Excuse me.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. I went to the polls in my work clothes this morning, so I don't have my voter. I do vote. I want that to be noted. I'm here to discuss a piece of property that I'm charged to try to develop. The plans are to erect a building on it, and the address is 200 Lyon Street. It's at the corner of South Main and Lyon. And we've had a number of frustrations and challenges with trying to get something done down there. But the most recent little wrinkle that we have encountered is that our neighbor, Liz Wilkins, and others, I'm sure, have had a nice mural painted on the south-facing side of her building, which is immediately adjacent. And so I had talked to the artist that did that, I think the same artist that did the mural on this building, and he said, well, everybody knows that nothing lasts forever, and that if there's adjoining property, a building can be built there, and that's just a risk you take. And he mentioned that there may be development on this building down here at the corner of 3rd and Broadway, where Jim Plowman's office used to be. But that's a little comfort. And so tried to figure out what could be done, and I met last August, September, with Councilman Veach and Councilman Phillips, and offered a suggestion. And it is this. The city of Hannibal owns a piece of ground that was purchased as a part of the flood protection system, which is not necessary for the flood protection system. It's a matter where you couldn't tear down part of a building. They had to buy all the buildings down there in that half block except for the Mark Twain Hotel. And there was a 50-foot strip left that was intended for future development to maintain a streetscape there on South Main that would approximate the development that was there years heretofore. And so my suggestion was, why don't we trade? There is no public parking in the 200 and 300 blocks of South Main, as best I can figure. There's private parking, but there's no public parking. And so that might be something that the city might be interested in. There's a building on this property that if we make some sort of arrangement, I would arrange to remove if the city didn't want to have it. So it is my understanding that Councilman Veach and Councilman Phillips brought our conversation back to the council, and this has been discussed privately. I'm here to discuss it publicly. My concern is I don't want to be involved with obscuring and depriving the community of this artwork that Liz and whoever have put there, because I think it's of value. I'm an appreciator of art, and I'm a collector of art. And so I would like to see it remain, and I would feel bad if we couldn't get that done. I wouldn't feel so bad as to abandon the purpose of the project, but nonetheless, nobody likes to have a negative aspect of whatever they're doing. Now, I understand that you've discussed it, but I have had no communication from the city manager or the city attorney or any of you all with respect to what those discussions were, so I'm here to discuss it. Now, I think if we were permitted to go ahead and try to develop our project there on the property that is now the property of the city, which is the south third of Lot 6 and Block 3 and all of Lot 7 and 8. It's 142 feet, as is the lot on the other side of the street. Our property is 44 feet wide. As I say, the property down there in the city is 50 feet wide. It hasn't offered any benefit to the city other than the obligation all these 30 years of mowing it. So I think that would be a benefit to the city, and additional parking would be a benefit to the city, and having that space down there in that neighborhood would be a benefit to any of the activities that our Hannibal JCs have down there, including the carnival and the other great projects that they have down there at their headquarters, which is across the street. Now, the only thing that I have been told by people who perhaps knew what they were talking about was that there was a concern expressed by the city manager that the Corps of Engineers won't let us part with that property. Well, she wasn't here in 1988 to 1993 when we got that flood project built, and I was. And I know what the requirements were. And I have examined all of the deeds from the property owners there, that had property there, to the city of Hannibal, and there is no restriction. I have requested of the city clerk's office to provide me with any information, any memoranda, any notes of any correspondence, any emails, any notes of any telephone conversations, and the city clerk's office was unable to provide anything like that. And further, I think it's important to note that in 1997, the city of Hannibal conveyed a portion of that property. I have in my hand a copy of the deed from the city of Hannibal to Charlotte O'Bannon, who at that time was the owner of the Mark Twain Hotel, for a 10-foot strip in Lot 6, in the south third of that lot, I guess for access or just so nothing would happen right next to the Mark Twain Hotel. So there's already been a sale of that property by the city of Hannibal. So what I'm saying is I would like to renew my proposal that at least we try to see if we can't negotiate an arrangement that would maintain Liz's mural and permit us to go ahead with our plans. The city of Hannibal has spent a considerable amount of money to establish a Chapter 353 corporation, a community improvement district, a neighborhood improvement district, to do something with downtown. And here we stand, ready to do something without provocation or subsidy taken. We did it, but that was never in place when we set out to talk to our architect and get our plans drawn up. So there you are. What do you think?
Mayor, could I? Mr. Ling, at this time, my understanding of what's been submitted was a verbal discussion from the JCs as to whether or not the city would be interested in it. We closed so that I could talk about the legal aspects and the legal concerns. While I certainly respect your ability to do research and figure out what's on paper, I do know what verbally the Corps told us was that they had some severe concerns about us doing it. Now, that's not to say that's an absolute no, because they say lots of stuff, and then if you press it, et cetera, et cetera. But my suggestion would be, if you're going to take the lead on this, maybe the appropriate thing would be if you were to make a formal written offer, that would probably spark further action on the city's part.
Well, number one, the Corps of Engineers, United States Army Corps of Engineers, Rock Island District, does not have the power of speech. It is a subdivision of the federal government. So someone from the Corps of Engineers told someone something. Now, I wouldn't have any problem communicating with them, because like I say, I can talk eyeball to eyeball with them, because I was on site when all of this took place. And there are not very many of us left. But I would be happy to do that if I'm not on a fool's errand. And only the council can tell me that.
Well, and I agree with you, but I'm going to suggest respectfully that if there is a process set out in the ordinances, and if you want to purchase a piece of property from the city, you're supposed to make a written offer. And you were the mayor, you know
I do
that.
not want to purchase any property from the city of Hannibal. What I want to do is propose a trade of property.
But
Now,
Mr. Ling,
okay.
what you want is for the J.C.'s to acquire the property and then swap it back to you, right?
No, absolutely not.
Okay. I suppose I'm not tracking what your desire is then.
Let me see, and it takes some effort. Let me see if I can be more clear. My proposal was to deed to the city the property there at 200 Lion Street in exchange for a deed from the city for the property in lots 6, partially in lot 6, 7, and 8 of the city of Hannibal.
Okay, so to clarify, part of your presentation was the city should dispose of the property next to the flood control area, because then they would no longer have to maintain it, but your proposal is that they should acquire property that they would have to maintain, correct?
Well, not if they make it into a parking lot. The maintenance, they wouldn't have to, let me put it this way, they wouldn't have, and I don't know why I'm talking to you, but they wouldn't have to mow it any longer.
Okay.
Okay?
Mr. Ling?
Yes.
Just out of curiosity, and I could be wrong here, but where does the J.C.'s come into this, if at all?
Well, Councilman Beach is a member, I believe, of the J.C.'s.
The J.C.'s were interested in purchasing that through TradeLink for his property.
Ah, okay. And that, I think Councilman Beach did mention that.
Okay.
But that's a wrinkle that was completely out of my control.
I understand. I
Okay.
just wanted to clarify for my own understanding.
Okay.
I think that's how it was presented to us, though.
It was.
I mean,
So what you're saying is trade property for property, and then if the city elected to surface that as a parking lot, that it would benefit the J.C.'s and their operation?
I mean, it benefits downtown Hannibal too.
Yeah.
Well, I get that, but I mean, basically the J.C.'s are out of the question on it.
Yeah.
Okay, fair enough.
Well, the city could do what it pleased with it.
Sure.
The only thought that I had was parking is an amenity that neighborhood,
You are
public
correct, sir.
parking is an amenity that
Yes.
that neighborhood does not have. And it would benefit businesses down there and the worthwhile community organization across the street.
I mean, are you here to pull the council to see if they were?
I'm interested in your comment.
Okay, I think it's a good idea.
Okay.
You know, if the Corps of Engineers goes along with it, I think it's a great idea.
It's my position, they got nothing to say, but I'd be glad to visit with them. And I'll be glad to get something in writing if what I'm proposing here is something that you think I ought to pursue.
I don't think it would be any harm in you proposing something like that. I think that this could be a worthwhile situation.
Okay.
It gives me no heartburn whatsoever.
Okay. Well, to me, it struck me as kind of a win-win thing. And
And like you said, you could just go ahead and put a building up
yeah, but then I'd be the bad guy. And I've had
you'd be
enough
the
of that
bad
in my
guy.
life,
Yeah.
so, you know.
We've all been the bad
I
guy.
think it'd be more than appropriate to pursue this, bring something, a proposal of sorts to the council with documentation that you've explained this evening. And let's see if it's kind of a public-private partnership, can't be reached.
That sounds fine to me. And I appreciate your time. And I appreciate your comments. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Lane.
Next is Mr. Jim Van Hoos. Had to throw Mr. in there.
That is my first name.
Okay.
Evening, Mayor, Council. Thank you for letting me speak tonight. I want to speak a few minutes on what apparently has been a very hot topic for the last several weeks. And being on the outside looking in, I really don't understand why such a benign document has been the subject of so much drama. Just for grins and giggles, I did some Google search on city managers' monthly reports, and I got pages and pages of options, and I just grabbed 4 at random. I didn't cherry pick any. And some of the things that you see on these is given the council and the public, and like I say, every one of these that I Googled, I could go straight to that city's website and get that document. Even though they're in Georgia, I'm here in Missouri. It's open and free for anybody to look at. Like I say, they give updates on like what's going on, grant applications, sales tax revenue year to date, hotel tax year to date, welcoming new employees, promotions, retirements, brief reports on meetings of boards and committees, building permits issued, just general things like that. I did print out one example. Harbor Springs, Michigan, 1,300 people. And they put out a monthly city manager's report on their website that anybody can get. Some of the things that they had on there, they talked about their noise control committee was discussing edits to the noise ordinance. The Parks Board held a special meeting to discuss grant applications for Kiwanis Park and the skate park. That could have been for a year. The tree board reviewed a conceptual plan for a rerouting of a road, just so on and so forth. Like I said, it seemed like a benign document. You can put as much in it as you want or as much as you need. Like this one here is 4 pages. Some of them were like 19 pages. 3 of them, like I say, I didn't cherry pick anything. I just grabbed 4 at random. 3 of them were done monthly. 1 of them was done quarterly. But it's information that's out there for the public to see. They don't have to go to their councilman and ask questions, and there'd be things going on they wouldn't even think to ask their councilman about. But it's just a lot of information that's handy for the public to gather whenever they so choose. And like I say, I think it's a worthwhile document. And again, I really don't understand all the drama and backlash and things that I've seen and experienced about it the last few weeks. But that's all I wanted to say.
I'm curious, Jim, I may have missed the beginning. This document you found on their website and stuff.
I Googled, I specifically Googled city managers' monthly reports.
Okay.
And then just all kinds of stuff blew up. And I didn't cherry pick anything, but the only way I cherry picked is I specifically picked one from a state that is not around here. I picked one from Oklahoma, one from Colorado, one from Michigan, one from Hogansville, Georgia, 3,000 people, and they put out a monthly city manager's report. And like I said, it's on their website for anybody from Hannibal, Missouri to China can get on and look at it anytime they choose. And from the ones that I looked at, it looks like it's worthwhile information for the public to have. Thank you.
Can I ask a question?
Yes.
Mr. Van Hoos? The example that you gave us, and this is just out of curiosity, because I've kind of tried to Google some too, and as you're probably very well aware, they're all over the map.
They are.
I mean, literally all over the map.
You can make it as simple or as complicated as what you want.
That's correct. But the example that you presented tonight, do you know if that city manager's report is included as part of the actual business meeting when the city council meets, or if
Well,
that
it
is
says on here,
provided?
the city's manager report is released on the Friday before city council's Monday meeting. Some of these items will be mentioned and or discussed at the council meeting, while other items are for informational purposes.
Okay, thank you.
This particular example.
Sure. And like I said, I've looked at them too.
Yeah.
And they're, some of them are included, some of them aren't. But I mean, if you'll allow me for just a second, because I did have a constituent reach out to me, and we had some discussion about my opinion on this matter. to answer your question from my perspective where I sat in this seat, and that is absolutely not speaking for anybody else, up until the last meeting, there were parts of that proposal that were even somewhat questionable on the legality of it as far as the penalties and things like that. And even the councilman that brought it up mentioned that, and that's why they adjusted it and changed it. So that's why I wanted to make sure we were good on everything else. I believe that the business portion of the city council meeting should be that. I am 110% in favor of a city manager's report. I would really like to do it just like you said, just like the example that you gave. I would like, and we've already directed the city manager. I don't know, again, I can't speak for every council member. I had a discussion with her not that long ago. When she comes back from her leave, she's going back to doing that. The charter gives us the authority to direct her to give us those reports. I don't personally believe that we need an ordinance for every checkbox on her job description. I think if the council under the home rule charter directs her to do that, that should be good enough. That's Darryl McCoy's personal opinion. So do the report, put it out in time. I'm all in favor of asking the city clerk to print it out and put it on the table at 6 o'clock. So if Mr. Van Hoos wants to come at 6 o'clock, look through it, he can put his name on the thing to sign up to speak at 6:30, and he can ask questions right then and there. I think that's great. I agree. And that report also should be available to anybody. So I know at least one constituent of mine in the room tonight. If she were to call me and say, hey, I need this city manager's report, the minute I get it, I'd be more than happy as her councilman to send it to her. Or she can call down here to City Hall. Again, that's my opinion.
The 4 examples I picked, all 4 of them were on the city's website.
Yeah, and that's great. I mean, I think, we should absolutely, because that saves time too. Then you don't have to call me or, Melissa or whoever. Yeah, you have access to it when it's posted. Even the ones from the past, those are all public documents. Anybody can request those. I think, again, and I'm just trying to answer some questions for the people out in the audience or some feedback that I've heard about Darryl McCoy's opinion, and I don't mean to hijack the meeting. But again, there were some legality questions that I had leading up to that point, and I just personally, I think the business meeting of the city should be the business meeting of the city. As far as the updates, that's great. And if people have questions, we changed our rules not that long ago to allow people to come up and ask questions before the meeting, a 30-minute period. And I feel like that's a great opportunity to take that report, and if you as a citizen don't want to call me and have a one-on-one with me, and you want to come here and ask the whole council, great opportunity. Great opportunity for transparency. Again, that's all I got.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you.
And I also have a personal opinion about that too. I believe that an ordinance change to make it a mandatory report would avoid the absence or the repeated absence or the long-term absence of those reports at the city manager's pleasure. Therefore, to make that a mandatory as opposed to a request, I think would be most important. We had those reports and then they stopped. Therefore, a simple ordinance change would correct that, make it mandatory, and ensure that we all got that report.
Okay.
Thank you. All right. Jim, have a good evening. Thank you, sir. Next is Mr. Alan Bowen.
Good evening, everybody. Thank you for allowing me to speak. I don't have a big speech tonight. I just have a couple little bullet points. Monthly reports become a timeline of past events. So we can always go back and look at them and say, hey, I noticed back in March or last year you went for a grant and we didn't get the grant. Why did we not get it, or did we fail to do something? What can we do next time, kind of thing. So it becomes an awesome timeline that we can always go back and check. City business at the council meeting, who decides what business is appropriate? Mr. McCoy?
Who decides what business is appropriate?
Yeah, I mean, what business is appropriate to sit up here and talk about and such? I'd like a little bit of clarification of what you think.
I can give you my opinion. I don't know if that's correct or not, but
that's fine.
Pretty much everything that's on this council agenda. city business.
Okay.
As far as the city manager report goes, I mean, there's financials included in this that anybody has access to. So, I mean, you have every right to go to City Hall and sit down with the financial manager and go over all that, or, you know, I mean, to me, again, this is my opinion. I'm trying to be transparent and answer
talking to you,
questions.
yeah.
City business, you know, we have people that spoke earlier tonight about street closures, things like that. We had Paul from the Habitat for Humanity at the last meeting asking for us to waive a fee. I mean, that type of stuff, real estate transfers, appointments, you know, things like that. Now, very well, from the city manager's report, you might have additional business to discuss.
Right.
Depending on, you know, when that comes out or whatever. But I mean, I can't give you a black and white definition of.
Right. So like citizen questions and stuff that could possibly be remedied by a city manager report that I love coming up here, but if my questions were answered, you know, let's say my questions were part of the report, you know, could that be remedied by citizens not having to feel that they have to come up here to, you know, twist your guys' arm to do things?
Sure, but I mean, I think, and no offense, you're kind of making my point for me. Yeah, and I agree with Mr. Van Hoos. Put it out there. So on last Friday, if you have questions, you have the whole weekend and yesterday to call me, your councilman, and go, Daryl, what is this? I see this on this report, and I can hopefully get you an answer so I can save you time from coming down here.
Right. Fair. I can see both ways then. Like Mr. Van Hoos said, they can be long reports, short reports, doesn't matter. I know one of the topics was we can't discuss personnel in public meetings, but as Van Hoos said, new hires, retirees, and things like that, I think those are all awesome things to promote. You know, we can be cheerleaders for our employees and rep them when big things happen. You know, we hire somebody. I've had a question of why I'm so passionate about the city manager's report now. I attempted to bring up the city manager report a long time ago when I was on the council. I only had 2, maybe 3 supporters. Not that I reached out to everybody. I did make sure to not talk to more than a couple of people about a certain topic. I never wanted to cross that line. So I never could maybe possibly get 5 people on my side to bring it up. So that is the reason that I'm passionate about it now, you know. Also, I always was under the impression of being on council that if I needed to be here until 10 o'clock at night to discuss business, I think that is entirely appropriate. I know it doesn't pay well, but we are good stewards of the citizens, and I think if we need to spend an extra 45 minutes up here discussing a topic, as long as it doesn't become drama and filled, I think it's perfectly fine. Also, it's industry standard for everybody. Everybody gives reports. Banks give reports, hospitals give reports, General Mills, you know, everybody. So yes, reports being maybe presented at the meeting, sure. But the backlash of why do we need it? You know, you can just call her up or call him up anytime you want to get the information you need. You know, why not make it accessible and brag about the things that we're doing? You know, all the department heads give the city manager every month. I did not ask one department head, but all department heads give some sort of report to the manager every month. And why can we not rep these awesome employees of doing what they do, you know, of all these big projects we do around town, and make it into one pretty document to, even for Lisa to sit up here for 30 seconds and go through some big projects. I think it'd be an awesome thing to have. So that's about all I got, unless you guys have anything.
I agree. Alan, thank you.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you, Alan. Next on the agenda is Ms. April Azate.
I would like to just go ahead and request permission to speak an extra 5 minutes.
Yeah, I'll make a motion for April to give her an extra 5 minutes.
Motion on the floor. Is there a second?
Second.
Okay, motion and a second. Any discussion?
Yeah, just, we gave Mr. Ling far more than 5 minutes, so.
Actually, everybody that's already has spoke more than 5 minutes.
Oh, well, I didn't quite catch that, but I'm glad you did, so.
Mr. Ling spoke almost 15 minutes.
Well, then I think it's fair that you do too.
Well, I kept tracking the interaction between council. I take that off because I don't want, it's not fair for me to run my yam for 4 of your 5 minutes. So I always take off any time that we discuss. It's only fair.
I mean, I'm not opposed for additional time, but I think we should start with the 5 minutes and see where we get and what's relevant. And no offense to April, because I don't know what she's going to talk about, and then go from there.
That's kind of my feeling.
I mean, we have 30 minutes before the meeting for public comment. That since we started, nobody's utilized yet, so, I mean.
Any other discussion? Hearing none. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed?
No.
Councilmember Franke?
Yes.
Mayor Hart?
No.
Councilmember Phillips?
Yes.
Councilmember Welch?
Sure.
Councilmember Beach?
Yes.
Councilmember McCoy?
Nope.
Mayor Pro Tem Dobson?
No.
Pass. Please, you do get the extra 5. And same rule applies. If I take 4 minutes of your 10, that doesn't count against you. All right.
Gotcha.
Proceed, please.
One of the many things that I do is I get the pleasure of cleaning out properties, and I come across wonderful finds, and I came across the Hannibal Police Department Manual, Rules and Regulations from March of 1974.
The black book's got gold lettering on the front.
Yeah. You don't want to know. I was hoping that the chief was going to be here because I was going to give it to him tonight.
In 1988, that was the book I was given. They were still using that in 1988.
I also found a HPD uniform coat that I was going to wear tonight, but it's a little too hot outside to be wearing a blazer tonight. So
It's pretty neat.
I wanted to start off by reading a couple things from the front of this, and it's under the principles, aims, and ideals. To achieve true success, the city and the department must win and retain the confidence and respect of the public which it serves. This can be done only by constant and earnest endeavor on the part of all members of the city and department to perform their duties in an efficient, honest, and businesslike manner, and by exemplary conduct, cultivating in the public mind the fullest realization that the police department is necessary to public well-being. And then I'm going to skip down to save time. He should never allow passion to urge him to brutality, nor fear, favoritism, or sympathy to seduce him to illegal neglect of his duty. I will never act officiously or permit personal feelings, prejudice, animosities, or friendships to influence my decisions. With no compromise for crime and with relentless prosecution of criminals, I will enforce the law courageously and appropriately without fear or favoritism, never employing unnecessary force or violence, and never accepting gratuities. I read quite a bit of this just because I love reading old stuff like this, but it kind of hits home with the fact that I think that both Jim and Alan said that just like the police, the city serves the people and is supposed to do what is best for the people, to protect them and to do what's best for the community. Transparency being one of that. And I'm just still mind blown by the fact that something as simple as a report is constantly being voted down or taken off of the agenda completely. So my first question would be, we used to do a city manager's report. What was the reason back in February for stopping this? Because to me, the timing of stopping doing the manager monthly report was, I mean, I don't believe in coincidence, but it's pretty crazy the time we quit doing it. So could somebody answer why we quit doing it?
I was illegally suspended at the time, so I don't know.
Can anybody else up there answer why we quit doing it and why we had done it for so long and quit doing it? Does anybody know why we quit doing it? Whose decision was it to quit doing it?
None that I've been able to determine,
I don't think there is a reason.
which is why a mandatory.
So whose decision was it to quit doing it?
I don't think there was an actual decision made to quit doing it. I just think it just stopped happening.
So the city manager decided herself to quit doing it?
I'm not going to say those words.
Can you speak in your microphone? I can't hear you.
I'm not going to say those words. Like, I don't know what the intent was.
You what?
I don't know what her intent was. It might have just been...
And none of you have asked her?
I think it was a miscommunication between the city manager and the person that sent those out.
Who is the person that sent these out? I guess I'm confused by what you're saying.
They always come from her assistants. So a couple of months they got communications crossed and they didn't get sent out.
Okay, so has anybody up there asked or brought up why we quit doing it, or are you guys?
Sure, I asked her a couple meetings ago if she'd continue doing those reports, and she said yes.
I'm saying like well over a year ago, it just quit being done. No?
I mean, yeah. Okay.
And you guys didn't see that as a red flag?
No.
Okay.
Because everything that I had questions on, I was able to sit down and talk to her about. I didn't really need a report. But we'll give you. I will give you that comments tonight that we've made. That I do think it's important.
But
as far as how it got, and I don't mean to interrupt you. As far as how it came to be, I don't know. I don't have an answer for you. She's not here to defend herself and give a valid answer or a reasoning why. I mean, I'm sure that there was, but we had a lot of stuff going on, and that's not an excuse. That is not an excuse. I understand that.
A couple of meetings now, it's been said that several of you are in favor of it, but not right now.
I mean, I don't know on the choice of wording. I gave my opinion earlier to Mr. Van Hoos. I believe, and through some discussions, there was part of that was potentially not legal as far as the penalty for her not performing this and things like that. I never had a discussion with those two councilmen. They never reached out to me to ask me for my opinion or why I was voting no or anything like that.
And that was amended. That was amended and removed.
I'm going to jump in. I actually have a problem getting information from the city manager. I send emails, she doesn't respond. So this is where I get my updates. Furthermore, the last 6 text messages I sent Daryl McCoy over here, he didn't respond to, so I stopped asking. Furthermore, anytime these people have questions, they can call us. And finally, we put it on the agenda 4 times. So if anybody had a question, comment, or concern, they could have brought it up then. Thank you.
I didn't have any questions, comments, or concerns.
Well, the concern was that there was a punitive measure, and again, that has been removed from the motion, and is not present. It needs not be brought up again. That is gone. It is not present.
Right.
And if that had been asked at the first meeting, we would have removed it at the first meeting. But it didn't happen at the second, it didn't happen at the third. It took Colin Welch being a big man and picking up the phone and calling us and asking us to remove it, so we did, as we would have at the first meeting.
I guess I just, myself and several other people in the community, there's no rhyme or reason. There's no justification as to why it's being taken off. It makes no sense to anybody. So, beings that you guys serve the people, and the people have numerous times said this is important to us. Transparency is important to us. Why is it being voted down time and time again? To me, that it's just like very shady and screams guilty when something to be more transparent with us versus seem as if stuff is being hidden, especially during this time. I think that a lot of people in the community would appreciate that. And quite frankly, we deserve that.
I agree.
And actually, since the mayor wasn't here last meeting, I know Stefan had said that I could ask the mayor, have you, in regards to all the hellacious bills from several law firms involved, is there a reason and/or have you checked in with Nicole as to why she hasn't billed since July of last year?
Yes, I have, and she has.
She has
And
what?
She has billed.
When did she bill?
It's in the mail. I just spoke to her.
Okay,
But she has a new assistant, and she apologized profusely.
and she has sent it.
She has, yes.
Okay.
Pretty crazy. I brought it up last council meeting and all of a sudden it's in the mail.
Well, I think question asked and answered.
I mean, 9 months later, after somebody comes to council and asks it, yeah, I bet it is in the mail. And then final question, where are we at with the investigation? Have we gotten any type of update whatsoever?
Which investigation? There's one with the, because there's really only one that I'm aware of, and.
And I guess you shouldn't have to ask which.
It's still ongoing.
Hey, April, there's been an interview done with the accused, and the last time you asked, we told you that that still needed to happen.
Mm-hmm.
Now it has happened, and the writing of the findings is, I want to say, in the red zone for anybody who likes football, so it's in the final stages. And I expect us to get it in 2 weeks' time or sooner. I hope we get it in 2 weeks' time.
I don't have a timeline. I touched base with her, and she said she conducted that interview, and she was beginning to work on the report, so.
And then James, correct me if I'm wrong, but during an open investigation, it's obviously against the law to request anything to keep everything kosher, I guess. But once the investigation has been finalized, everything that I've researched, that is in fact public record, correct?
Not necessarily. And I'm not trying to play games with you, April.
No, I'm just.
And I know this typical lawyer answer. It depends on whether it qualifies. There are certain things under the Sunshine Law that are closed records regardless that are in an employee's file. There are other things that are not a closed record. I haven't seen the report because it hasn't been submitted. I'm just not in a position.
But it's to my understanding that the majority of it would be available to the public.
And I'm
per
sorry,
state
and
law.
I know you feel like I'm dancing around, but without seeing the report, I don't feel comfortable telling you that.
Okay.
I
After you see
agree.
the report, would you be able to better explain maybe?
Yeah, or provide a redacted, if there
Okay.
are portions that need to be redacted. Something like that is probably what we could do. If you made a request to get a copy of the report, I think what we would need to do is take a look at it, see what portions are public and which portions are not public.
Oh, believe me,
And
several
we could-
sunshine law requests I've gotten, there's a lot of stuff blacked out, so I understand that might happen.
Sure, but it's one of those things of, until I see the report, I'm just not, I mean, maybe every single word would be sunshine, but to your point, probably not, but I'd have to see it.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you, April.
Okay, council, under my name at this time, there's a recommendation of appointment to the tree bird. Try it again.
Hopefully we're not burning anything.
Yeah, tree board. For a first reading, Paul Eward, appointment for a term to expire September of 2024. There's no roll call at this time. However, I would tell you that I did discuss with members of the tree board, and they have passed on to me that Mr. Eward is a fantastic addition to their their cause and actually has donated a lot of time already to this. So I would ask you to keep that in your consideration when I bring it back at the next meeting.
Mr. Mayor, if you don't mind, I'll speak on that real quick.
Please.
Just to reiterate what he says, Mr. Ewart has already been a valuable volunteer to the tree board, and getting him officially on the roster will be useful and fun. Speaking of fun, tomorrow morning we are planting 95 trees on South Main Street at 8 a.m. Thanks in large part to the help from the Street and Parks Department. Seems like Mr. Dorian has stepped out, but for any of the media who's here today, we'd love for you to come and participate, maybe get your hands dirty, and South Main at 8 a.m. Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
Yes. Appreciate that.
Mine's a little more off topic, but I know that our tree board's doing good stuff, but recently I went through Huckleberry Park, and I'm not sure if it was a scout organization or what, but there was a bunch of kids planting trees in our parks and doing other things, and I think that's really awesome. I'm not sure which group that was, but
it's right along the street there.
Yeah.
That was tree board.
Was it tree board? There was a lot of youth involved in that too.
That was Christy Trevathan almost exclusively. She's our idea person and our doer. So in other words, she's our Hall of Famer. And she coordinated with the Housing Authority, if I'm saying that right, to get that done. So a lot of credit for a lot of people. Thanks for noticing.
Yep.
And that did replace a lot of trees that were damaged in the past few years, and hopefully replaced with trees that are a little more hardy and able to withstand the elements, except for the cars that seem to keep going off the road and running over.
What you're trying to say is native species, and that's what we're doing. I knew that's what you meant.
That's exactly the words. See, I said tree burn. So.
Yeah.
All right. Okay. Mr. James Lemon.
Mayor, the only thing I have is the ordinance that we've been talking so much about. It is my proposed draft to address what the vote of the council approved, and it is on for first reading tonight. I can answer any questions if anybody has any.
Thanks for cleaning up my clumsy language.
It wasn't clumsy. I was just trying to streamline a little bit.
You did good, thank you.
Okay, that'll be Bill 23-008 to follow. Else. Jessica Rosenkrantz, Fiscal Management Assistant. Good evening.
Good evening. All right, I'm here about the capital improvement plan for 24 through 28. On March 16th of this year, the Planning and Zoning Commission reviewed and received the proposed 5-year capital improvement plan, which covers the years 2024 through 2028. The commission unanimously approved the plan and recommends it to be considered for a vote by the council, and there is a resolution to follow. And you guys should have a copy, I believe, of the capital improvement program up there. Any questions?
Not as of yet.
Not as of yet. I'd say Bianca can probably answer better than me. I'm presenting for her, as usual.
All right.
All right?
Very good.
All right.
Thank you.
Thank you.
And next we have a representative from the Director of the Convention Visitors Bureau. I know you're not Megan, so.
Hello, good evening. I'm here on behalf of the Convention and Visitors Bureau, and my name is Nicole McKee. I'm the sales manager, and I'm here this evening to request from the mayor to sign the contract with the OBP agency. And prior to tonight, we had sent the meeting agenda and requested that there be any questions, and to my knowledge, we haven't received anything. And just a quick recap of that was in November, we brought before council that we would be redeveloping our website. And the OBP agency is the agency that we decided to go with. And we have started that process, and the website is with visithannibal.com. And we have since received approval with our city attorney that the contract is good to go. And staff recommends allowing the mayor to enter into a contract with the OBP agency to create Hannibal's new mobile-friendly website design. So that is what I'm here for today.
This is, I think, the second time this has come before us, and I'm grateful you guys are doing this and taking a solid step in the future, and picking something that will not only update what we have, but make what we're about to have more updatable in the future.
Thank
If
you.
anybody followed that, so thank you.
Yes, thank you.
Anyone else?
We hope to make it that way.
There'll be resolution 2450-23 to follow. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Next on the agenda says Chief of Police Jacob Naki. However, I believe the chief is elected to send representatives.
Yes, he is. He's actually going on some training this week, so he asked us to come up for the two things we're going to talk about. I apologize for my attire. Chance to go back to the office.
I understand you were, well, I know you were busy earlier, so
Yes.
you don't apologize for doing your job.
Well,
Thank you.
very much. We got two things here, Lieutenant Grody and Lieutenant Grody. That's weird, we have the same last name, but
At PD, it's boy Grody and girl Grody. Keep it easy.
so the first one is we have put out for bids. The chief was able to get a law enforcement block grant to replace some of our heavier cert vests that are rated to rifle impact rounds. I was thinking stop at heavier threat level. Currently, the vests that we have, much bulkier, much heavier, and only 2 of them out of the 10 that we have are still within their rated life expectancy. So it was coming time to replace them. They're usually a big block of purchase. It costs us a lot of money, and over time, we tried to do 2 or 3 at a time as we could come up with the money, but that's provided some logistics problems to us. So he was able to get this grant to cover the cost of 4 of them for $97.45.40. After we opened 2 different quotes from 2 different companies, First Spear out of St. Louis is the one we'd like to go with. And then if you'd like to permission to purchase the other 6 at a cost of $15,918.
So just to recap what you said.
Sure.
9745 will go towards the purchase, and then that's out of the block grant.
Right.
And then the 15,918 to finish the purchase is out of the budget you're currently operating out of. So you're not asking for additional funding. It's the budget you already currently are operating.
Motion to approve?
Second. Motion is second. Any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
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 Opposed? No, motion's carried. Your next item?
Thank you.
The drone. I'm sure you guys have heard about the drone and how cool it is and why we need it, multiple purposes that it serves for us and making things a lot more safe for us. I'm not sure if you guys heard about the high-rise incident where we were trying to get someone that was barricaded inside there that obviously didn't want to be arrested by us. Okay, so to fast forward with that, the drone itself is $18,043.50. However, we received donations from Continental Cement of $9,500, Norfolk Southern Railroad of $3,000, the Marion County Law Enforcement Foundation grant of $3,049.79. So basically, due to all of those generous contributions from other agencies, the cost for us is $2,493.71. That will come from the department's investigative fund. So we're seeking council approval for that.
Lieutenant, to go back to the high-rise incident.
Yes.
You used a drone in that incident, but it wasn't your own.
Correct.
It was a
We
borrowed
do not.
drone.
Correct. We do not have one
Yes.
currently of our own.
Yes.
So I have a question that I think probably ends up being more for James. Sorry. And just to be clear before I ask, I totally support this. You got my vote. I think it's a good thing. But I am a little concerned about the civil liberties aspect of it and whether or not there are limitations on where they can and cannot operate and people's privacy. You know, the example given had to do with windows, and I mean, I'm just curious. Like I said, you got my vote. Just curious.
I also have a drone pilot here if you have any questions for him.
Maybe after the meeting.
Okay.
As a general rule, anything that can be seen in public is legal to be photographed, videoed, et cetera, et cetera. Raised one interesting posit of a window on maybe a window on a second floor building. I don't think that it would be considered to be a warrantless search if they don't have curtains up, et cetera, in regards to whether or not there would be some kind of a privacy issue. I don't know the answer to that because you've given me a suggestion I hadn't really thought about, so I'd have to look at that one. But in general, they can fly the drone any place where the public can go.
FAA license. If it's your pilot's FAA license, right?
Yeah.
Right there, yeah. And on that note, with the high-rise one, we knew the apartment that that guy was in. It was more of a tactical safety thing for us, to try to see what we were looking at, how the apartment was laid out, where he might be. Are there people in the other, we didn't look in the windows of the other people, but do we need to evacuate those in case we have to do this? So there's multiple things that go into those type of deployments when we do things like that. Thank you.
And I guess you could always use a consent to search from another occupant of the property who had legal claim to it to effectively give you the right to look.
Yes.
Motion to approve the bid.
Second.
Motion is second. Any further discussion?
There's not going to be any missiles on this one, is there?
Not yet.
I'm joking.
That'll be the next council meeting.
I'm just joking.
All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion's carried.
Thank you.
Thank you for what you all
Thank
do.
you.
I'm sorry, Andy Dorian, Director of Central Services. I apologize.
I got 3 items tonight. We recently went out for bid for the sale of the old dog pound. We had one bidder, Jeff Barton, at $35,000. We had set a minimum of $33,000, so we met the minimum. So Department of Public Works recommends the sale of that property.
Resolution 2449-23 to follow. Okay.
Next up, we have the airport project for the probably 10th or 15th time. It's just the process it takes. So this is for the actual state block grant agreement so that we can get our money back on this project. And so it's a $289,381 state block grant agreement, which will cover the majority of the costs for the terminal project and the engineering on that project. And we got an update. That project is looking like it's going to start that week of the April 20th timeframe. So, and that's an ordinance.
That's 23-007 to follow, correct?
Yep.
Okay.
And last up, we're out for bid for the sale of an older 2016 John Deere zero turn with some issues. We had several bidders, I think 9 or 10, with the high bidder of Aaron Bramlett of $3,003. So we recommend the sale of that.
That's a lot for an old mower.
So,
Make a motion to approve that sale.
Second.
motion is second. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion's carried.
And last, I have a closed session real estate item. Something come up at the very end of the day, so we need to table that. So I just wanted to let you guys know now.
Okay. I believe that was the only thing we had on.
One and the same.
One and the same.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, one and the same.
And council, as we amended the agenda earlier in the evening, I wanted to bring up the Scribner's error in bill number 23-002. It was given a first reading on January 3rd, 2023. Second reading of January 17th, 2023. As I described earlier, adopted date put down 17th day of January 2022. Scribner's error, it was actually voted on and accepted on the correct time, just the error in putting a correct date on that. This time I'm asking the council for voice vote to go ahead and correct that error by a...
I'll make a motion to approve the corrected version.
Okay. The motion and a second. Any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion's carried.
That might sound a little confusing. There's a copy if anybody after the meeting. It's pretty spelled out in here where it's at if anybody wants to look at that. So.
I've done it written out checks before and put the wrong date on it.
Luckily, Melissa highlighted the points for us.
5 points. I got a highlighted one. And want to bring with that Melissa's the one that brought this forward and made sure that we got this corrected. So thanks to her again.
Give
And the
her a
assistance
star.
And the assistance of another citizen that saw it and said, hey, what's up? So, people working together. All right, council, at this time we have before us bill number 23-006. I need a motion to have the clerk this bill a second and final reading and call the roll for adoption.
So move.
Second.
Motion and a second. Any discussion? Hearing none. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion's carried.
Bill number 23-006, an ordinance of the City of Hannibal, Missouri, authorizing the city to participate in the Missouri Firefighters Critical Illness Trust Pool, and further authorizing the mayor to execute such documents as may be necessary for the city's participation therein. Second and final reading. Councilmember Franke?
Yes.
Mayor Hark?
Yes.
Councilmember Phillips?
Yes.
Councilmember Welch?
Yes.
Councilmember Beach?
Yes.
Councilmember McCoy?
Yes.
And Mayor Pro Tem Dobson?
Yes.
Okay, I declare bill number 23-006 duly approved and adopted on this day. We now have bill number 23-007. I need a motion to have the clerk give this bill a first reading.
I'll move.
Second.
There's a motion and a second. Any discussion? Hearing none. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion's carried.
Bill number 23-007, an ordinance of the City of Hannibal authorizing the mayor to execute a $289,381 Missouri Highways and Transportation Commission State Block Grant Agreement between the City of Hannibal and the Missouri Highway Commission for the funding of the terminal renovations and drainage repairs at the Hannibal Regional Airport. First reading.
We now have before us bill number 23-008. I need a motion to have the clerk give this bill a first reading.
Have a motion?
Second.
Motion and a second. Any discussion? Hearing none. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed?
No.
Councilmember Franke?
Yes.
Mayor Hark?
No.
Councilmember Phillips?
Yes.
Councilmember Welch?
Yes.
Councilmember Beach?
No.
Councilmember McCoy?
No.
And Mayor Pro Tem Dobson?
No.
Majority. Those.
Oh, all right. Okay, yes, we have now before us Resolution 2451-23. I need a motion to have the clerk read this resolution and call the roll for adoption.
So move.
I'd like the motion to table this until next meeting, so we can look at the,
I'll second Jeff's motion.
Absolutely.
I understand that. I saw it at planning and zoning. It was explained, so I get why you guys need time to look at it.
All right, so there's a motion and a second to table
till next meeting.
till next meeting. Any discussion on that?
Does it have to be approved, James, by a certain date? 'Cause that's just the budget, isn't it? The capital improvement plan doesn't have a set date on it, I don't believe.
It does not.
Okay, thanks for the clarification.
Manager by a certain date, but not
Okay, perfect. I just want to make sure. Thanks.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Okay, let me brought back to the next meeting. Now we have Resolution 2450-23. I need a motion to have the clerk read this resolution, call the roll for adoption.
So moved.
Second.
Motion is second. Any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried.
Resolution number 2450-23, a resolution authorizing the mayor to sign a contract between the City of Hannibal and Osborne Bar Paramore for the tourism website. Councilmember Franke?
Yes.
Mayor Hark?
Yes.
Councilmember Phillips?
Yes.
Councilmember Welch?
Yes.
Councilmember Beach?
Yes.
Councilmember McCoy?
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem Dobson?
Yes.
I declare Resolution 2450-23 duly approved and adopted on this day. We now have Resolution 2449-23. Need a motion to have the clerk read this resolution and call the roll for adoption.
So moved.
Second.
Motion and a second. Any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion's carried.
Resolution number 2449-23, a resolution of the City of Hannibal authorizing the mayor to execute a contract for the sale of the real estate to Jeff Barton for the sale of the city-owned property, Old Dog Pound, located at 2923 Warren Barrett Drive in the amount of $35,000. Councilmember Franke?
Yes.
Mayor Hart?
Yes.
Councilmember Phillips?
Yes.
Councilmember Welch?
Yes.
Councilmember Beach?
Yes.
Councilmember McCoy?
Yes.
And Mayor Pro Tem Dawson.
Yes.
Declare Resolution 2449-23 duly approved and adopted on this day. Appears there's no reason for the close at this time, so I would ask for a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Second.
Motion and a second. Any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion's carried.
Mayor, you want these back?